Carl, you mentioned 2024. You have one of the more well-respected political minds in the country. What advice would you give Republicans as they head into 2022 and 2024? The map looks pretty tough in the Senate and maybe a little easier in the House, but what counsel would you give them?
Well, number one, we need to figure out what we're for. We're going to find ourselves easy to oppose things that the Biden administration is doing, and that's important. But we've also got to decide what we're for. How do we take our conservative principles and apply them to the changing circumstances of this new century? Second of all, we have got to get our act together in terms of registering voters and the basic blocking and tackling to get out the vote. And that's going to be really critical to us. We need to have a greater emphasis on diversity. I don't think it's an accident that in California, the Republicans, for the first time in the history of the state, it joined the Union in 1850, knocked off 4 Democrat incumbent members of Congress, and they did so with 2 Asian Americans, both women, and 2 Latinos, both guys. And I don't think that it's an accident. I know you and I are huge fans of Tim Scott. I heard your interview with him recently. He's a terrific figure. We need more like him, and Elise Stefanik and Liz Cheney and Nikki Haley, and the diversity that is our country. It's one of our strengths. It ought to be one of our strengths.
Well, we had a moment of accord. You and I both love most of the names you just mentioned, so I'm going to end. We got about a minute. I'm going to end by asking you a tough question. But you got a great political mind, and I don't know who else to ask. You got Mitch McConnell, you got Kevin McCarthy in the House. Speaking of Georgia, you got a congresswoman in Georgia that is threatening to define the Republican Party. How do you keep a big tent but keep the fringes kind of out of the main dining area?
Yeah, look, if you believe that the Jews control a space laser that starts fires in Northern California, and that there's some unnamed high-ranking government official who's got a heretofore unknown security classification called Q, and all the nutty things that flow with that, you should be taken off the prestigious House Education and Labor Committee and confined to the dark recesses of the furthest building away from the House floor, and then let the voters decide in the next election. She is a problem for our party.